Okay, so what I'm going to do, I'm going to texture this head. And I'm going to be using something called the warp image. And then I'm going to move this all over Namari. So, I'm going to show you just the basics of it, and then I'll get into it. So first thing I'm going to do, I want a bunch of reference images that I have. I want to get them in here to the hypershade quick. So I'm just going to go and grab them. What have I got? This one, this one, this one. You can't see what I'm doing. Ha ha ha. Here I've got like 7 images. Is it going to be 7? Sure, why not? I'm just going to drag them in from Explorer and bloop, they're all here. Okay, you'll see they load up. There we go. You can see I've got some eyeball textures in here and stuff like that. Okay, let's go and clear this out. So, one of the first things I note, first trick, is to make sure that when you're doing this, that you are using a Lambert or a Blinn or a Phong, any kind of native Maya material. If you use anything else, you're not going to have a happy time. Okay, so let's do this with the side first. I always like doing the side to start off with. I don't know why, but that's what I do. I can see the texture up here. I'm just going to middle click this and drag it over here into color, and you'll see it going across here. I've got my UVs already laid out, and let's go and actually I'll just put this down here so you can see it's hooked up, and I'm just going to minimize that. Okay, so and for simplicity's sake, I decided to put all my UVs into one UDIM here, and it's just kind of including our shoulders. It's just like I'm gonna put them all into one and fit them in. Okay, so if I look here under UV sets, this is map 1. I don't know why they didn't call this UV set 1, but they didn't. They called it map 1. And I'm going to go over to the side view here, and let's get rid of the attribute editor, and I'll go here to the right view. Okay, and I'm going to take this texture and I'm going to project it on here. I want to do it, let's do it through camera based. I'm going to create a new UV set, and it's called UV set 1. I might do some like underscore side. Okay, great. Something like that. And I'm going to hit apply and close. And so that's giving me a new UV layout. Okay, wonderful. And you can see here my UV sets, it actually went right to that UV set. But you'll see that it didn't actually move the UVs on my object here, unless... Why does it feel like it did? Let's just take this and I'm going to flip it. And did that do anything here? No, of course not. Okay, good. And I'll just hit 6 on this one too. So now what I need to do is I need to go over to Windows, and in the relationship editors there's UV linking texture centric. And there's the texture, and of course, let's try it again. There's the texture, and it's hooked up to map 1, but I made this new thing called UV set 1 underscore side. Okay, boom, now they're connected. So you can connect different textures on your material to different UV layouts. That's what this is all about. It's more something for video games. But I love this trick. So let's go here and we'll look at this beast. And now what I can do, see this thing's cut off a little bit. We don't need to see this anymore. Okay, so, and we don't need this thing. It's taking up too much visual real estate. I'm just going to go in here and I'm going to grab all my UVs and I'm going to move this. Whoop. And as I move this to try to line it up, there's too many freaking vertices. I did smooth it so it'd be, I don't know, I thought it might be easier. Actually, you know what I'm going to do? I'm just going to go down here and actually, I wonder if I'm allowed to do this without getting into trouble. Okay, so it worked. I just undid my smooth there. I took down the divisions to 0 because it's just too much point pulling. Okay, the next thing is, this is kind of still a pain in the ass to look at. I find you can, if you like it, great, do it. I just turned off highlight selection, and now you'll see that when I move them around, I don't see all the wireframe, so it makes it a little less busy. You can even take it down another notch. I think, what is it? There's B. There's another way to do this too. Yeah, I'll just live with it. And if I do something like this, what I'm going to try and do is get this cheek section here, and maybe a bit of the ear. We'll see. I'm just going to rotate this, and I'm going to get it roughly in place. Something like that. It looks like I can maybe use a bit of scale action. Okay. A bit of scale action this way. And we'll call that good enough for now. Actually, I'm going to move the ear into place and then move the rest manually. Okay. Something I probably don't need is this mouth sock down in here. The mouth sock, if I go in and I grab a few of these UVs that are in here, and I go and I hit grow, and I just hit G a few times. There we go, and get up to the front of the lips, and I'll just delete them because I don't need them and they're just confusing me. Okay, and let's see how this is looking. And I can go in here and grab some of the UVs, and if I hit B for soft selection, right, and I hold down B and I middle click drag, I can move them around in the UV editor at a time, and sometimes this is just a little bit easier to do. Got to see that I don't grab too much of that ear action. Okay, and we got a bit of the neck. Okay, do something like this with the front of the face. Pull this up. You're never going to see that. And what about this section here? The forehead, the eyes. It's looking not too bad. And this character is asymmetrical, so it's not going to line up perfectly. So I'm not going to get too upset about it. And I'm really primarily just worried about the cheek action. Go middle click. You can also do a little trick too, if you don't like this wireframe still. If you go onto the Move tool, and you go into the soft select, there's an option here to viewport color. When you turn that off, you don't see the soft selection drop off. It's a little bit of a handicap, but at the same time, this helps me figure out what the hell I'm doing a little bit easier. Okay, and again, this area doesn't matter too much. Sometimes I find when you're trying to adjust the soft select, this becomes a real pain in the ass. Pull this forward a bit. This chin area here, no one's ever going to see that. But this does look fairly decent. Okay. Oh, you bastard. Okay, for my skin texture, this is kind of wonderful here from the side. The ear doesn't look great. These ears don't match exactly, so yeah. It's a curse! And what about this? Pull this forward. Okay, I'm going to say that's good enough right there. Okay, so don't look at the front of her. Look at the side. And so I figure that's pretty good. Let's go here, and do I need anything in here? Do I need to get rid of anything? I'm going to leave it all. I'm just going to delete the history off of this. And then what I'm going to do is if I go down here to modify, there's warp image. And here, let's just edit, reset the settings. So the resolution, or actually first let's do this. So this texture, this image, this was called, let's get in here. This one was called image 03112. Okay, great. So if I go in here and it says here source image name, and I put this in my source images, but now we're going to images, so I gotta go up, find source images, and we gotta find 312. This one. Okay, great. I'm gonna hit open. I should mention that these are some images I bought from a website called 3d.sk years ago. New image name. So let's just go in here, and for the new image name, you can pick out a texture type if you want to here. PNG. I like PNGs. And images, and I can type in here UV set 01 underscore side, something like that, or side warp. Actually, let's call it side warp, or warp side. Warp underscore side. I'm going to hit save. There it is, warp side, PNG. I'm going to change the type of texture. There it is, PNG. UV or source UV set. Well, it never makes sense to me why they put map 1 here, but let's just copy that and I'm going to place that here. And then this UV set is, I named this thing, I don't have any selected, of course. Where is it? I named this thing UV set 1, and make sure you pay attention to all the capital letters that you put in. Great. So if I go zipping over here, source is UV set 1 underscore side. Of course I make it tricky on myself. Anyway, whatever. Map 1, and here it goes up to resolution 8K. Let's go and do 4096. That's a 4K texture. Okay, 9.6. And yada yada yada. One other thing I kind of like, the background mode here says automatic, so it kind of streaks out the colors. But I like a fixed color, so I can come in here and pick something really obnoxious. Actually, let's pick yellow. Pick yellow here, and then I use yellow when I'm in Mari. And I'm going to call that good, and I'm going to hit warp image. Now I could spend a lot more time on this, but I'm going to consider this good enough for the first one. And I sit here and I wait, and hopefully I don't crash. I've noticed that if you put your if your initial UV set, if they overlap across the 0 to 1 area, your UVs will potentially cause it to crash, but it did it. Okay, let's just double check. And what does it look like? If I go in here to images, warp side, looks perfectly just like this. And that's because I was a fool and I just realized something. I go back here to UV sets and I go to map 1. God damn it, what did I just tell you? Stick it in the, here, I'm just going to pop that down into here. Let's try that again. Warp image, everything's the same. Hit it again. Just as long as it's not on the edge. I've found on the edge I seem to crash every time. And I hit warp image, everything freezes up, freaks out, and it just overwrote this one. And let's try it again. And voila! There it is. My UVs are laid out for me. Now, I'm going to have to do that for all the rest of these images I have of her head. I find the 3/4 shots are the most valuable ones because you can use those the most. And I'm going to take this, we're at 13-minute mark. I'm going to pause while I do this so I don't bore you to death. And I'll be back shortly. Okay, so I've finished making a bunch of these images, and let's just take a look at them. I brought them over here, and oh, you can see that I've got all this stuff here. Let's just go full screen there. And if I look at these here, I'll right-click on this and open with your event view, my favorite image viewer. Okay, and so I've just done a bunch of different projections from different angles, and you can see all these faces. Oh, it looks like my family. Oh, by the way, this one here, I deleted the UVs because they were driving me crazy. And if you take a look back in, let's take this thing and unfull screen this, and I'm going to zip over here. And if you take a look at my UV sets, I've made one from the side, the front, the 3/4 left, 3/4 right, back, 3/4 back left, and 3/4 back right. So what do we got? 7. Good God. 7 of these images. Okay, great. And let's hit back here and full screen it. Okay, let me hide that thing. So you've seen all these things in here. Okay, so what I'm going to do now, I've got myself into Mari here. And what is it? I got an eyeball texture on just because it looks weird without the eyeballs. So yeah, get your eyeballs in, otherwise it looks odd. And then I'm going to go in here to the layers, and we can put the eyeball into a layer if we, or into a group if we want to, so we can call it eye group or whatever. Here, and I'm just going to deselect that, and then when I hit new layer, it pops up on top. Okay, and I might just put this into a group as well. I'm just going to take this first layer, and I'm going to hit import into current layer, because it's an empty layer, so no one's going to notice. And what have I done here? Where am I? Who am I? Desktop images there. And we'll start off with, I always start off with a side one. Come on. Come on. Okay, maybe I might. Okay, it's just taking its sweet freaking time. Oh, do I have to pause? Okay, warp side, great, and I'll hit import. Might take a moment here as it burps its way in. I did make a 4K image. Took 5 seconds. Okay, great. So there it is. There's my side, and that looks decent. I can go over here, and on the shader, I might just put it on flat, because sometimes I find all the specularity and everything kind of and the light source distracting as I'm figuring this out. And you're seeing that the texture went onto the eyes. I got some eye action in here. What I might quickly do is in the layers, if I go to the group, oh, there's a few different ways I can do this, but let's just do this the fast, simple way. Okay. Actually, just for the hell of it, let's do this a little bit different. If I go in here to the select tool, and I select all these faces, and then I go to layers, and I go and right click on this, and I go to layer mask, add mask from selection. Bloop, there. So it just masked that off. Masked off everything else. So just a slightly different way of thinking about that. Okay, so now I can go back and grab whatever brush I want. So layers, I've got that first one. Then I'm going to go. I'm going to right click on the thing, and I can go to import into new layer. La 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 la. And that was the warp side. Let's go to warp front. Things seem to be slowing down. Okay. And this can be a little bit time consuming. We'll see how fast this goes. Actually, I don't. Actually, just those that was cut off. No, you can see it. Okay, the layers are on the side here. I'm just going to. Is there a way to move this over a little bit so I can grab that? And I'll move this back. Okay. Uh-oh. Someone in the neighborhood is cooking prawns with garlic. Okay. Okay. So, back onto the layers. Oh, this layer here came in as a separate one. We wanted to put this right here. Great. So it's in part of the group. There, it's masked out so I can see my eyes. Okay. And you can see that this is the front projection. And there's some issues. Okay, so what I can do is I'm layering these things together. Let's go here to layers, and on this layer here, I should name these things. Actually, let's try and do this just so I can play super organized. Side underscore layer. And this one here, come on. Come on. Come on. There we go. And I'll call this like front layer. Okay. And then with this one here, I'm trying to be non-destructive. So I'm going to go and I can mask this layer. And I'll say reveal all. And so I can paint in a couple of different places at once. Let's see, right now I've got the paintbrush on. And right here there's the black and the white. If I hit this, it reverses it. X is the hotkey that reverses between the two. And so I can quickly hide this stuff. I can paint it out. Okay. If I'm having trouble seeing this, because this is the front and the side and how they're blending together, this can be painful. Sometimes what I'll do, I find this a little bit more effective, is I go in here and I right click and I add a procedural layer basic color. And I'll take this one and I can move it. Let's move it down to the bottom. I hate that stinking white. That's hard to look at. So instead, I'm going to like some kind of nice yellow Or maybe even a green. Let's go green. Okay. And then I'll just hide the side layer as I'm working on the front layer's mask. And there we go. That's what I was waiting. It just took a moment to kick in. That way it's really easy to see if I missed anything. And you can see some of the stuff down here just sucks. Oh, crap. And of course I've got auto bake and clear on here. So let's undo that. It just baked on. Okay, so here. There we go. Now it's baked. So this is just for the front of my face. And here I can get rid of some of this crap here that's driving me nuts. Okay, and I got some junk in the eyeballs and the shoulder thing here I don't need to see. And let's just hit B, bake. And I'll go over here and okay, let's get rid of some of this crap here. I'll hit B. So that helps my brain out a little bit as I'm trying to figure out what's going on here. It's gone right across the seam, but you gotta watch out that you don't switch your cursor between one and the other as you're doing this, because you'll get really sad. Don't get sad. Okay, and then let's see what that looks like. So if I go over here, put the side view on, takes a moment, it kicks in. And so now we can see as we're blending together. And then I'm going to keep doing this to each one of these things. And as I do this, I'm going to pause because this is going to be tedious to look at. So I'll see what I can do here. I'm going to pause and I'll be back in a minute. Hit resume. Okay, good. I hit the button. Yeah, I'm just doing this and it's taking a while, and so I just want to kind of finish this tutorial off. I'm just going in and using like the 3/4 shot and just kind of cleaning it up on one side or the other, looking for the stretch marks. I should mention too that here, let's just do this and hit the bake. That my little funny trick with the yellow lines is causing me problems along my seams. But the big thing I want to point out is just look at how good this texture looks through here. I'm not losing any detail. Oh crap, and here I got a mask. Oh, X. Go ahead and unmask that and bring it back. So I'm being very non-destructive, which is nice. Not like how I was when I was young. I've got all these layers. I can kind of bring them back on. I kind of do them one at a time, and we'll see how this looks. Yeah, you can see I've still got to do some more blending, and this is going to take me a little bit of time here, but I'm slowly getting it, and my skin's going to be relatively even. Hopefully it will be. And yeah, so I'm going to stop this video here, and I'll try and fine-tune it and make another one later. Okay, so let's stop this.